Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life, and this is part two to the 2025 predictions. This one is going to be Verizon. I have an article pulled up from Verizon's News Center because that'll be part of one of my predictions. And I'll start off with the one that's very clear, right? We don't need a prediction for that one. Is the Frontier deal? That one is set to close in the next roughly 12 to 18 months, and that's the deal we don't have to speculate on. Verizon is getting a bigger fiber player in Frontier, and outside of that, we can speculate: are they going to deepen their fiber footprint? Are they going to further expand out, even outside of the Frontier footprint? We can speculate on that and make predictions, but that's the deal that's currently in progress of approval with all the regulatory bodies, and we should be expecting an approval within 12 to 18 months. But my first prediction: Verizon extends and gets more Department of Defense contracts. That's one of my predictions, right? None of that's official, although this one that you see on screen, that one was officially announced and they did get a contract extension. But I believe they get more of that because there's a lot of spectrum that they're putting in on these sites. There's a lot of fiber going in the ground with MCI one fiber, and there's a lot of 10 gig circuits, and they need to fill that with whatever they can from a monetizing perspective. So they need to make the revenue, profit, everything. And that's one of my predictions. They get more government contracts and they extend the ones that they have. Now, there's going to be some instances where they lose some, but I think they're okay with that because you're not going to, right? If T-Mobile comes in super low, you're not going to go lower than that. So that's just naturally going to happen. They're going to shed some of those contracts now because T-Mobile is more aggressive and they have a better competing network. But for the most part, Verizon will, in 2025, extend some of their contracts, and they will get some new ones from the Department of Defense. Second, Verizon will build the best 5G network. That's a prediction of mine for 2025. They really deepen that mid-band footprint. The C-band becomes a critical part of the network. Yes, there's other spectrum bands that play a part in that. We see the N2, the N5s, and then of course millimeter wave. But Verizon, from what I'm being told and what we're seeing in the field, they're really putting a big emphasis on the mid-band, the C-band, right? So we could see aggregation combos of what we've seen, the millimeter wave aggregated with the C-band. We've seen that already. But I think C-band, they densify. I think Verizon densifies where in many cases you're just connected to a strong C-band signal. Verizon doesn't have a lot of PCS. They don't have a lot of AWS. And they don't have a lot of low band on a nationwide scale to really just all of a sudden move all of that to 5G and just leave LTE on a small slice. Right? That's not the position that Verizon is in today. So a lot of the workload is going to be on that C-band. And Verizon's going to make sure they build the network where you are on C-band 95% of the time, maybe even a higher percentage. Because that's really the workhorse, and that's today everything they built, like the video call slicing, the network slicing, the SA core, it's all mainly today on that C-band. Whereas T-Mobile, they started different. They put the SA core on low band because they had enough low band, and then they started building the mid-band. Verizon is putting it all on the mid-band, and they're still DSSing in some areas because they just don't have enough spectrum to really put to the side to dedicate to 5G today. They have to wait until more of their LTE users get 5G devices, and then they start slowly cutting that spectrum. But today, I'm told, even in markets where they don't have 850, they will still have to use DSS on PCS where it's available. For example, in my market, we have 850. There's an interference issue with Mexico, so they can't use all of it. So there's a little bit of an issue there, right? AWS is not enough to split. LTE still has a good amount of usage. So you really put all of the workload and everything on C-band, and you densify according to C-band. What's it going to take to keep all of my 5G SA customers on C-band 90% of the time or more? Right? That's something that Verizon is going to do, and that's going to lead them to build a robust 5G network unlike ever seen. Right? And that's just something that Verizon does. Right? We've seen it. It's not something that we have to speculate about. We've seen their network. We've seen their excellence, right? They believe in that. They strongly believe in building the best network. They're RF engineers. They're wizards. They know how to properly optimize. They know how to build. They get the green light to build, right? There's not much red tape. If sites are needed, they get the green light. Whereas with AT&T, it's like, they get a lot of red tape. They want to build, and it's like, no, we're going to allocate the funds here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do the rip and replace. And it's like, no, Verizon really doesn't deal with those issues. T-Mobile, to a certain extent, they also don't deal with those issues, but they just don't do as much, right? They're like, we don't need that many sites this year. That's kind of how T-Mobile is. They kind of take steps back. Verizon is like, if you need it, build it. That's their motto, and I like that a lot better. And that's why number two, of course, prediction is Verizon builds the 5G network, and they have the fastest 5G network by the end of 2025. Excuse me. I truly believe that they build it, right? The millimeter wave, they're going to continue to build nodes. They're going to continue to build sites. They're going to continue upgrading sites. They're going to put in a lot of work in the next 12 months to really, really take it to the next level. I think 300 million is definitely possible in 2025. Pops. 300 million pops is definitely possible for the carrier. And I think they try and achieve that, even though they might have not announced that publicly, right? But getting to 80 to 90% of all your sites having C-band, that's a big accomplishment from them starting from a point of being behind already. So they were moving very, very, very fast in their mid-band deployment. And then my third prediction in 2025, I actually believe Verizon takes big momentum on the consumer growth. I think they finally, I don't want to say they figured it out, but I think they know now, the analytics, the numbers, they show them that they have to be aggressive in order to grow in volume. So I think they take the promo, any condition, any phone. I think they take that promo into 2025 Q1, and I think that becomes their main go-to market, in my opinion. And then there's another promo now where they're paying off your device up to $800 with the carrier you're with. I think they take that into next year too. At least I hope they do, because that puts them in the running for new customers and switchers. The 800 is for switchers. The any condition, any phone, that's for new customers. If your phone is paid off with the carrier, it's broken, bring it to us. We'll give you a new line and we'll give you a new phone for free. So you have a double header, right, in the market. You have one for switchers and one for new lines. That's a pretty strong move. It's expensive, the acquisition cost. I think the $800 promo in total is about $1,600 worth of value, because you're paying off the device with the other carrier and you're giving them a phone on us. So that right there is about $1,600. So yes, you have to be on the highest plan, I think, or I think that's what I saw. You have to be on the unlimited ultimate for Verizon to get that deal. But still, it's something they're putting in the market. If 60% of new T-Mobile customers are taking the highest premium plan, then there should be no problem for customers to take the Verizon plan. T-Mobile's Go 5G Next is more expensive. So like I said, the pricing is very close. So there's no difference anymore in price, really. So, it's all about how aggressive you want to be and how aggressive your promos are. And I think Verizon, my third prediction, they take momentum into next year and they grow. I think they grow 100,000, 150,000 customers a quarter. That's my prediction. And that for that company is a solid amount of growth. They don't need 900,000. They already have the most postpaid customers. They have a total of 144 million customers. That type of growth is not needed. And that essentially stops the bleeding. If they get to 100, 150,000 a quarter, that stops the bleeding for Verizon, and it makes it harder for T-Mobile to surpass them in total customers. If Verizon can do that on a quarterly basis for a couple of years, they're fine. That shows investors more confidence that they can grow quarterly. That'll bring up the margins, right? Because they are priced expensive, and so is T-Mobile. And that's T-Mobile's strategy. They want to get you into the highest plans so they can increase the margins without having to adjust cost that, very much. But as I said in that video, my prediction is T-Mobile raises price next year. And I also think Verizon will raise price, so you can take that as another prediction. But but those are just my three predictions for Verizon, and I feel very strongly about those. Right, more contracts for Verizon for business with the Department of Defense and extensions. The number two, building the absolute best 5G network. I feel very strongly about that. And then third, they take momentum into next year. I think they grow 100 to 150,000 customers a quarter, or organic, right? Those are going to be brand new customers, no switching from prepaid to postpaid, and I think that's going to be about what does it for Verizon. I think that will allow them to finally be in the positive on the stock, right? That'll allow that to grow a little bit, not massive, but it'll bring back confidence into the investors and shareholders. And then maybe Verizon gets going on some other M&A. I don't know what that will look like. That's why I didn't want to put that into the prediction. If the Frontier deal wasn't already announced, I probably would have made that a prediction, that they get Frontier or some type of cable player. Verizon's been trying this for a long time now, for those of you who don't know. They tried in like 2011, 2012. They tried to get in 2017 to get Spectrum. Verizon's been wanting a bigger player for a long time. And that's not me speculating. That's literally made it into the news. Like articles came out. So they've been trying this. So this Frontier deal is something Verizon has been wanting for a long time. Not necessarily that specific company, but they've been trying to get a cable player of some sorts for a long time. So that's finally a speculation we no longer have to speculate about, because it's actually happening. But let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.